Hi, I'm Chris England, and I am recording an interview with Natalia Volanberg, who is, I know a lot of people I've never met on internet. I've never met them personally, and Natalia is absolutely the best internet friend I've never met. Hello, Natalia.
Hi, wow, such a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I am, let's see, Natalia is a mental health coach and a clarity breathwork practitioner. She works with issues like anxiety, depression, grief, life transitions, and more. And let's see, Natalia, where are you from and where are you living now?
Okay. Well, I was born in Moscow, Russia, and I immigrated to Canada when I was 18. And now I'm in Mexico. I'm on the Pacific coast in Puerto Vallarta, and I'm loving it here.
Ah, yeah, you are definitely a world traveler.
Yeah.
Now, I'm unfamiliar with clarity breath work. Could you go over what you do there?
Sure. Well, clarity breathwork is a very gentle but powerful breathing technique. Basically, it's a conscious, connected breath through your mouth. So we call it a silent aha breath. So it's kind of like an enthusiastic inhale and gentle release on the exhale. So you're not pushing anything out, okay? You say this like beautiful yes to life with your inhale and you release gently on the exhale, kind of like a leaf falling from a tree.
Ah, that sounds very powerful. I've done a lot of breath work and I like that. I like that. And knowing you as I do, I'm sure that you gently guide people along uh, the
Yeah, and
path.
what I want to add is that the client is always in control of the intensity. This practice can get quite intense,
Ah,
but it's up to the client to regulate the intensity. So some people can choose to breathe through their nose if the energy gets too much,
yeah.
and then go back to the mouth breathing.
Ah, I can see that. Where did you learn this?
Well, my beautiful teachers, whom I love very much, they are in Hawaii. And actually, I was trained online. I started my training, I think it was during COVID, actually, when everything was canceled. And my teachers, Ashana and Dana, they come from a lineage of rebirthing. So basically, this breath work, it used to be called rebirthing.
Mhm.
And, they made it their own and they call it the clarity breath work. And I guess their mission and my mission is very aligned with theirs, is that well, many people come to this work because they were traumatized.
Mm.
So the transformation, the work that we offer is gentle. We're not looking for like a really cathartic release because, traumatized person will have a difficulty integrating.
Mm.
So gentle, subtle shifts. sometimes, the kind of like little shifts that you don't even notice, they really make a big difference over time because they accumulate. But
Hmm.
like there is no like screaming and like banging, like on the walls or something. It's just like very gentle, and the client is always in control.
Hmm. I like that. I like that. Now, if they choose, can they go deeper, faster, stronger in the experience?
Well, I would say to this that usually we work together. I'm their guide, and before we start the breathwork session itself, usually there is at least 45 minutes of coaching counseling. So this way I know where they're coming from, what the issue is, and this way I can guide them towards something that benefits them,
That
right? So
sounds very professional. I like that.
exactly. So, like
Uh,
if I know that somebody has a lot of drama in their life and they're
uh-huh.
very just like over the top and creating a lot of conflict in their environment or in, within their family. So I would go for like a very kind of soft, internal, gentle transformation that brings them back into their inner landscape, if you will. Okay.
Hmm. And this is an individualized session for one person, one on one.
Yes, at this point, I find that what works best for me is working one on one
Uh-huh.
because, this way I can really get to know somebody and I can tailor the session to them, and I just find that it's the most fulfilling type of work for me at this point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you also are a mental health coach for women.
Mhm.
Uh, could you elaborate on that for us?
Yes, of course. So I was trained as a psychotherapist, and during my practice, I came to realize that going so deeply into the past and spending a lot of time there doesn't make sense. It's not very efficient. And simply understanding what happened in the past doesn't actually solve the problem in the present. So I take all of the tools and professional training that I received while I was training as a psychotherapist, and I kind of like take it into the arena of mental health coaching, which is mostly present and future. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so kind of like let's assess what's going on for you in the current moment, and let's figure out together how to go into the future that you want. And currently I find that I'm most comfortable, I guess, working with women, and I tend to attract, yeah, mostly female clients.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I work a lot with gay men.
Ah,
Yeah.
I really, really, really like that approach.
Mhm.
It's I recognize that change can be profound and occur a lot faster if you deal with the present and the future rather than going back in time with a traditional psychotherapy analytic method where a lot of people spin their wheels in the mud for years before if they ever get traction. I
Yeah,
like that quite a bit.
yeah, and I just want to add to this. I got a lot of inspiration from my mentor Phil Stutz, because he, you know, he used to joke. I think he still does that. Patients have to have a lot of patience, and that's why we call them patients, right? Because this kind of therapy, the traditional, talking therapy, it just takes years, and there is often like no progress and no idea how long it's going to take. And I really do believe that change can be instant, or at least, like I'm more kind of like, I guess, like a sports coach. I don't want to be just like passively sitting there and just listening. Like I want to give my clients, like
Mm.
my inspiration, my energy. I want to be their cheerleader, like, like for real. And I want to inspire them, right? Because so many people come into therapy and or into coaching, and they don't believe that change is possible.
I feel so calm being in your presence. I just had to throw that out. Could you share with us what kind of issues you deal with in your work?
Well, at the moment, I'm finding that many of my clients are going through some kind of life transition. In the past couple of years, so many things happened,
Hmm.
with the COVID pandemic, and it's just like our world changed so much. So, many of my clients, while they were working from home, they came to realize how important family is for them. And they just, they want to be more connected to the people they love. So some of my clients are preparing to make a transition, but maybe they're a little bit scared and they need some support, or they need, a strategy. And of course, I work with people who have depression, anxiety,
Mm.
relationships issues, and you know yeah, those are the top ones.
What inspired you to get into this kind of work?
Hmm. Wow, that's a good question. So I would have to say that my parents, but mostly my mom. I think when I was growing up, my mother was quite depressed, and I always wanted to cheer her up. Like I wanted to make her happy,
Hmm.
and it was difficult, so it kind of like led me to examine and to be really interested in human nature. So I was reading Freud at the age of 12, and seriously, and it just blew my mind. And yeah, so it was my mother, but later on just everything.
Huh.
Desire to help, I always wanted to elevate people, right?
So yeah, I guess that's good. That's the purpose of your work. Uh,
Mhm.
Anything to add to that?
Well, yeah, I have to say that, you know, just watching people transform, it's such a beautiful experience. And of course, their transformation is a result of their work. I cannot take full credit, but I know that I contributed something, the spark, just like the support and the love and compassion that I gave in the process. just seeing the result eventually, it's a feeling like no other, like it really makes me feel that I'm not just taking up space in this world, that I am making a difference.
Ah, I can see that. Now, what kind of growth have you seen in people that you work with, and what can they realistically expect to move towards?
Right. Well, it depends on the client, right? So there's so many different situations, but recently I worked with a female client who came to a realization that she was ready to leave her husband. Okay. But she was really scared. She wasn't sure if she was going to able to do it, but she came to this realization during the lockdown. And so I was able to support her through this
Mm,
process, and eventually she managed to separate, but in a very kind of like conscious and peaceful manner,
mm-hmm,
so it was much easier with my support.
mm-hmm,
Sometimes what I see is that people want to change something, but they have been doing the same thing for so many years, and they don't know what's next, right? They're confused and also, scared, right?
mm-hmm,
Because change or life transition requires a lot of energy,
mm,
right?
yeah,
And sometimes, like when somebody's stuck in a full-time corporate job, people think that they don't have enough energy. They come home so wiped out and, just go to sleep. But actually, there are ways to generate energy because
mm-hmm.
energy is very abundant.
I like that quite a bit. Now, I am a do-it-yourselfer kind of guy. I do my own plumbing. I do my own electrical work. I live in the mountains and I take care of the snow myself. And I guess what I'm saying is what you're talking about is as a result, I've got all sorts of tools, all sorts of
Mhm.
tools. Um, and I guess what you're kind of going towards is you're supplying tools for people.
Mhm.
And
Right.
I like that a lot. Is there anything to add to that?
Well, here I think it's a good time to speak about my beloved mentor, Phil Stutz. And there is a documentary that just came out about him on Netflix.
Ah,
Yeah, and it was made by Jonah Hill, who was in The Wolf of Wall Street. And it's a really, really amazing documentary.
mm,
So when I was going through my psychotherapy training, I was always kind of like thinking, is there anything that I can give my clients that they can use right away? And so when I came across Phil's work and his book, The Tools, I was like, this is exactly what I was looking for. So I learned from him a set of different, basically, a tool is kind of like a mini, like a visual meditation. Okay. So, for example, somebody suffers from anxiety. Okay. They can use a tool that's called Grateful Flow. So, like anxiety can be like both mental and physical, right? But usually there's some kind of like a negative thought. Grateful flow, which can be done in a couple of seconds, takes you right into the heart and connects you to this universal, abundant flow of life that is always there for you. And so you can do this, like a client can practice this little technique, this little tool very quickly.
Mm,
No equipment is required, and the result is no anxiety. So the person doesn't have to wait for the medication to kick
mm,
in. It's a thing that the person can do, right? And outside of outside of client, hours,
mhm,
right? And it's just it gives agency back to the people.
mhm.
It's like, oh, like I can do this, on my own, and it's a very easy thing to do. So yes, there's a bunch of tools that I teach.
Yeah,
So
it seems the breadth of your training and your interests, you have some very unique things that people aren't going to find in very many coaches. Uh,
mm, wow, thank you for saying this. And it's not very humble to speak about myself in this kind of like, wow, I'm the best light. But the thing is that, yes, not every practitioner can offer what I can, you know,
mhm,
because my training and my life experience and my knowledge together with the energy work that I'm doing on myself all kind of comes together very beautifully, because like I see breath work practitioners and maybe they're in their 20s, and that's the only training they have, and so I'm bringing to the table so many different things. Plus I'm very intuitive by nature, so sometimes I can just sense, what is going on before the client realizes himself or herself.
I like that. Um, what is the to know you better, what is the absolute favorite part of your work that you do?
Well, every client that comes to me, I would say it's almost like a soulmate. And there's this beautiful energetic exchange. I feel energized by our sessions together, and it's just amazing. It's like we're walking on this journey together, side by side. Maybe I'm a little bit ahead and just kind of like holding their hand, but I get so much love out of each session. It's just unbelievable.
Hmm, good. I'm sort of a bookworm. What is if you had to pick one book as your favorite book, what is your favorite book in the world or in the universe?
In the universe. Okay. So, are we talking about literature here or just any book?
Any book whatsoever, just so that this it doesn't have to be about counseling. That just rips
Okay.
open your heart and your soul, and people can go, oh, I get it.
hmm Well, I don't know if I told you, but I lived in Japan for 5 years.
Whoa.
So, yeah, so I really love Haruki Murakami. He's a, I think he's like a number one Japanese writer at this moment. And I guess my favorite book by Haruki Murakami, it's Kafka on the Shore. Have you
Hmm.
read it?
No,
It's a very interesting book.
I like that. I do. Now
Mhm.
I can tell you, and this is another question that doesn't have that much to do
Mhm.
with your therapy, but it's got everything to do with your therapy. I
Okay.
live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And one of the things that gives me the most joy is to just take a walk in the woods with the mountains in the background. And
Mhm.
it's just, there's so much beauty, it just blows my mind.
Mhm.
What in your life gives you joy? Is it music or I know you live in a beautiful place too.
Oh, wow, thank you for asking such an inspiring question. Yes, I have to say that right now it's along the same lines. First of all, I love cats. I'm such a cat lover, and as soon as I arrived to my apartment, the next day a cat appeared, this like really big cat. So I call him Gato Grande, like a big cat. And
Uh-huh.
we already have a relationship. He gives me so much joy. I give him milk. But yes, walking in the jungle and, like the flower that I have here, the frangipani flower,
Uh-huh.
they're everywhere here. And it's just, like the green of the jungle. It's such a juicy, shade of green. You just like look at this color and you're like, it just feels so good. And of course, like being on the Pacific Ocean, it's so beautiful. And like now it's the season of the whales. The whales are here all the way from Canada, and they're just magnificent. Just sitting on the shore, you can see them.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely get a passing grade from me, A plus. So now, um, if somebody is interested in
Mhm,
the work that you do, what you can share, and
mhm.
I can tell that you share your soul. You don't hold back.
No.
Do you do you give a free consultation where both of you can decide if it's right for you?
Yes, of course, because like you said, I mean, energy makes a big difference, right? Plays a big part in
Uh-huh.
this exchange. It's very important. So it has to be, the right match for both of us, right? Because I'm not for everyone, and everyone is not for me. So, yes, I offer a free initial consultation, which is about half an hour. So, this way we can have a chat and decide if it's going to be a good match for both of us.
Uh-huh. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this?
Mm, Thank you for asking. Well, what I'd like to add is that breathwork really changed my life. It transformed my life in quite a rapid way. When I got my master's in psychotherapy in 2010, and I started working with clients because like to graduate I had to accumulate 350 hours, right? So yes, so it was a serious program. And almost immediately I felt like there was something missing. You know, it's like we would get to a certain point, and I felt like we should just stop talking, you know? And so once I discovered clarity breathwork, I realized that this is the embodiment piece, right? Because
Mm,
a lot of therapy, yes, it can be just very here, right? And you can get a lot of insights by talking to somebody who supports you.
mhm,
But then through breath work, you can embody your realization. You know, like you can truly feel it with every cell of your body instead of just like keeping it in the head, you know?
mhm.
And once whatever you want to be is really in your body, you can step into your future with so much ease and so much faster. So,
Oh, well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. And I have to say that your smile is genuine, and you just this warmth and love just flows from you.
mm,
And the viewers, the people that are watching us can't see it on the screen here, but you have the most piercing blue eyes.
oh, thank you so much, Chris. I really just had such a blast talking to you. It was very fun and not stressful at all. So thank you so much for having me. And
Yeah. And I'll just close off by saying people that want to contact you can do it through your email, and it's nvolanberg at gmail.com. It's in the screen underneath your, at the bottom of the screen, nvolanberg at gmail.com. Well, I think it's been a gas. We're going to have to get together again someday.
yes, yes, that would be wonderful. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
goodbye.